Hi, I'm going to try something new today. Thought I would share this. Maybe people will be interested, maybe not. But I thought that I would do a little bit of cooking and share my prep and recipes with my students and see if while we're on this virtual learning quest together, and you guys need a break from your academic work, if you want to ever try any of the meals that I'm cooking or any of the wonderful sweets that I'm baking. Anyhow, my first attempt today is going to be at creating my own corned beef. Now, corned beef is what we refer to it as a Jew. We call it corned beef. It's the same thing that the Brits refer to as salted beef. So the first thing I'm going to do is to share with you the recipe briefly. So I have made corned beef before, but this is the first time I'm using this particular recipe. I'm going to give this one a try. So I've already gotten together the ingredients. I'm using less than what's here because my cut of meat that I got for creating the corned beef is about half the size. It's not about 5 pounds, mine's about 2.5 pounds. So what I did was I got everything together here. I have the salt. I didn't have light brown sugar, so I used dark brown sugar, but it should be just fine as well. Now, mixed in here is the garlic, the pickling spice, and the black pepper. What I didn't have was the curing salts, or what's also sometimes referred to as saltpeter. So what I did instead was I used celery seed, because celery seed powder can sometimes serve as a substitute, as a curative. I used that the last time I made this and it worked just fine. So now the first step in this is going to be to add all of these ingredients, sans the meat, into a pot and to bring it to a slow simmer. And we want to let everything kind of mix together and just kind of dissolve and start to create a nice little brine. Okay, so I've got my pot of water boiling. So instead of using a gallon, I used half a gallon of water, which is about approximately 2 liters of water. So now into my pot, I'm adding the salt. I didn't have kosher salt, so I used fine sea salt instead. That's not a problem as a substitute. I'm adding the sugar. And I'm adding the mix of spices. Remember, that's the garlic, the pickling spice, the pepper, and also the celery that I substituted for the saltpeter. Now I'm just going to get a spoon and I'm going to start to stir this up. And I'm going to wait for all of the salts and sugars to dissolve and let this simmer for a little while and let all the juices mix together. And then I'm going to come back and show you the next steps. Okay, I'm back. You can see here that the brine is actually simmering. You can see the movement of the water and the spices in the water. And I have been coming occasionally to stir things up a bit. I can tell just by putting my spoon into the liquid and moving it around, scraping the bottom, that the salt and sugar are all completely dissolved. So this is a nice mix of ingredients. So now I'm just going to turn this off. I'm going to let it cool down. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the meat in the brine, and I'm going to put the meat and the brine in the refrigerator. So the liquid has to completely cool, and then I'm going to leave the meat in this for somewhere between 5 and 7 days. Once that happens, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how we continue from there, and we will continue with our corned beef recipe. Okay, now, well, it is 7 days after I began brining the corned beef. This is what it looks like after I've poured it out of the brine and rinsed it off. I've got it in a pot and it's covered with water. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of pickling spice. And then I'm going to start simmering this on a low heat. and I'm gonna cook it for 3 hours. So the pickling spice has been added. I've got a low flame on to start cooking it, and now I'm going to cover the pot, and we'll come back and check on it. Oh my God. All right, the corned beef has now come out of the pot. Don't know if you can see the steam rising off of it. I took a small bite. I am in freaking heaven. This has come out really good. It's not the exact consistency of the deli corned beef I would get, mainly because it's a different cut of meat. But I'm gonna see if we can zoom in a little bit closer and you can just see how nice this is. I wish you could smell and taste this through the internet. Unfortunately, it's not something we're capable to do. I will share the link to the recipe I used, and happy cooking to all of you. Thank you for watching, and I hope if you try this, it comes out as delicious as the one I made.